going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, just because Marvel Studios won't be making a huge splash at Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con doesn't mean that they won't be doing live presentations throughout the year, because there are a ton of Comic-Cons literally all year long that they show up to all over the world. And as evidence of this, and earlier this year already, in an international Comic-Con, Marvel Studios felt comfortable showing a sizzle reel for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. Now, don't be too upset about that, because there wasn't any Doomsday footage in there. Rather, it was just a montage of characters and footage basically meant to set up the vibe for Avengers Doomsday. But starting in 2022, when they returned to cons in full force after the end of the pandemic, they started showing unfinished trailers, unfinished snippets of the movies, and in some cases, not just scenes, but the first full 30 minutes of a Marvel movie. They did it for Deadpool and Wolverine, and they just did it for the Fantastic Four. Now, unfortunately, obviously, they're not going to share the first 30 minutes with the public, and I know you guys can't stand when Marvel does this, but you won't have to wait too long to hear the description of it, and I also want to talk about why this is a little cheeky by Marvel and their exact timing of lifting that embargo. Well, because of another huge superhero movie that has that embargo going up tonight. We're breaking it all down, the first 30 minutes officially screened of the Fantastic Four at a Comic-Con. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. If you're into that kind of thing, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaways. In fact, there's one in just a couple of weeks. Plus, we're going to be doing rounds of Fantastic Four ticket giveaways. All you got to do is be a sub, leave a comment. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so right now the Fantastic Four are traveling the entire world, basically on a world tour, going to a bunch of different countries to promote the film. It was confirmed that yesterday at a fan event in Brazil, Marvel Studios officially screened the first 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four. And while Marvel Studios has done a ton of test screenings already for their films like Fantastic Four for internal, basically, review so that they can do reshoots or change things about the film that people don't understand, this would be a little bit different because they're not doing any of that now. The movie is done, and this was for a public fan event, which means they didn't make everybody step up and sign an NDA. They basically said, everybody be quiet until the social media embargo is up, which happens to be tomorrow, July 8th. So for everybody who was in the room who watched the first 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four, again, members of the public, starting tomorrow, they'll be able to say what they want about reacting to that footage. Now that, as I mentioned, is just a little curious because the review embargo for basically people in the media like me isn't up until July 22nd, days before the film comes out that same week. But now you've got random fans in Brazil who have seen the film and are going to be able to talk about it on social media at least the first 30 minutes. And as I mentioned during the prologue, they did this exact same thing for Deadpool and Wolverine. The curious thing, though, is why they are lifting the embargo tomorrow. When the footage was shown days ago, it's not like the next couple of days are going to change anything from anybody in attendance. If anything, it's just going to basically put time between their immediate reaction, give them time to think about it, and maybe even forget some details. What's so crazy about this social media embargo lifting tomorrow, again, days after they showed it to everybody, because usually when you see it at a Comic-Con, you can walk out of the theater and tweet about it, is that tonight happens to be when the reaction embargo is lifting for Superman. Now, obviously, I haven't been as active at this channel doing the whole Superman drama with people talking about the movie when they shouldn't have been over the last couple of weeks, dropping negative reviews, deleting them, etc. And if you want, you can check back to our video from yesterday covering that. But in the meantime, this is so crazy that tonight you'll have the Superman hype going on, people will be reacting to the film, but less than 12 hours later, like literally not a full 24 hours, in the morning of tomorrow's news cycle, all of a sudden people will be reacting to the first 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four. And we, of course, will be covering those reactions as soon as they start to go live tomorrow. But the main point I'm making here is when you're dealing with the public, not internal screenings and NDAs and members of the media and press at the premieres, they'll say, hey, do a reaction, but don't do a review. Technically, the review for the Fantastic Four isn't up until July 22nd, but I know there are a lot of you watching this video who are asking the difference. What's the difference between a reaction and a review? And there are differences in them, mostly the length and how much you reveal and whether or not Marvel Studios did a good job with the film instead of whether or not you liked it. Either way, whatever the nuance there, I see content creators, literally my peers, who can't get that right and do 22-minute reactions where they go beyond reviewing the film and start giving up summary details about the plot because they can't control themselves. In fact, literally just saw this happen back to back with Captain America Brave New World and the Thunderbolts, and less than a month month ago and a day after a test screening for the Fantastic Four, apparently the post-credit scene supposedly leaked. And so tomorrow, we're going to be getting a lot of reviews, only for the first 30 minutes, but where they should just be reactions. It's going to be a lot of information, possibly with details leaking through about that first 30 minutes for how it sets up the rest of the film. So it's going to be a lot. And again, right after the hype for Superman is going to start to go off tonight, tomorrow morning when that news cycle restarts for the next day, a bunch of Fantastic Four stuff will be there. Now, I think it's coincidental because look, they both knew they were releasing the films in July. Of course, their marketing campaigns were going to overlap. There was no way around that. There's 31 days in July. One day you're going to get the reactions for Superman. The next day you're getting reactions for Fantastic Four. Or the Marvel executives and the high-ups are doing exactly what they're supposed to do and saying, hey, there's a big Superman thing about to drop. We got to make sure that we stay par with that so people come and see our film too. Because really, to me, James Gunn gets the last laugh by throwing the first punch here because it gets to sort of fly for the first couple of weeks. Okay, I'm going to stop with the puns. I know, actually like 3 in 1 sentence is way too many. But it's going to get to stand on its own until July 25th when the Fantastic Four comes out, no comparison. When Fantastic Four comes out, and if it's less good than Superman or markedly worse than Superman, we're all going to see it, plain as day, in front of our face, and people won't help but have to draw those comparisons, especially if Superman is much better. If it goes 1-2 punch, hey, we get Superman and it's awesome. Fantastic Four and it's not that great, it's only going to be highlighted by how good Superman was. And for Marvel Studios, who literally had the next 6 months, they could have picked any other date to put this movie out and not had those comparisons drawn. So while Marvel and Disney will publicly say that there is no rivalry here and they want both movies to do well and the superhero genre as a whole is strong, blah blah blah, that's BS, and we know it. We're looking at it, they're looking at it, everybody's looking at it. There will be no way around drawing a direct comparison to the box office for Fantastic Four and for Superman in a way that just wouldn't have been done if Fantastic Four had come out 2 or 3 months ago or 2 or 3 months from now. So here we are with major overlaps in the marketing, and while it may feel again a little cheeky that Marvel's about to immediately lift a review embargo that should have been up days ago right after the Superman reaction embargo goes, it's just the way it's going because of how close these movies are coming out. But you let me know all your thoughts down below. Do you have tickets to both? I'm all ears as always. We're going to be covering the Superman reactions tonight, the Fantastic Four reactions tomorrow, so keep it tuned here at the channel. As far as the giveaways, make sure you're subbed and leave a comment that enters you for the PS5 giveaways, as well as the ticket giveaways we'll do later in the month. Make sure that you hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos, and if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms with original music under the name AllFires, including the song you're hearing now in the background. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.